What if I told you that ancient cartographers mapped coastlines they should never have seen? A medieval Turkish admiral draws South America's coastline in startling detail, decades before European explorers reached those shores. A French mathematician charts Antarctica's interior 3 centuries before the continent was officially discovered. A Chinese admiral navigates the globe with maps so precise they anticipate the shape of Africa's western coast by 100 years. These aren't myths, these are maps. Physical, verified, authentic maps that exist in museums and archives today, and they raise a question that history has never satisfactorily answered. How did they know? Welcome to Fallen Frequencies. 1. The Piri Reis Map. In 1929, a German theologian named Gustav Adolf Deissmann was cataloging the archives of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace when he found something extraordinary. A fragment of a world map drawn on gazelle skin, signed by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis, dated 1513. The map itself was remarkable enough. Hand-drawn coastlines, compass roses, detailed notations in Ottoman Turkish. But it was what the map showed that changed everything. The Piri Reis Map depicts the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and, remarkably, the northern coast of Antarctica, free of ice. Let that settle in. The coastline of Antarctica under the ice. Drawn in 1513. The continent of Antarctica wouldn't be officially discovered until 1820, 307 years later. And the ice sheet that covers it wouldn't be mapped by modern seismic survey until the mid-20th century. Piri Reis himself explained the source of his information. In his own notes on the map, he wrote that he compiled it from approximately 20 source maps, including one that dated back to the time of Alexander the Great. He specifically mentioned a map captured from a Spanish sailor who had sailed with Columbus on his 3rd voyage to the Americas. But even Columbus's charts couldn't explain Antarctica's ice-free coastline. To map the land beneath the ice, you need technology that simply didn't exist in 1513, or in 300 BC for that matter. The U.S. Navy and Air Force have both independently verified that the Piri Reis Map's Antarctic coastline matches seismic survey data of the land mass beneath the ice sheet. This isn't a fringe theory. It's a documented, verified cartographic anomaly that mainstream science has never adequately explained. 2. The Oronteus Finaeus Map. 20 years after Piri Reis, a French mathematician named Oronteus Finaeus published a world map. His rendering of Antarctica is even more startling than Piri Reis's fragment. Finaeus showed Antarctica as a single continuous landmass, not the scattered islands that 16th century geographers assumed existed at the South Pole. He drew mountain ranges, rivers, and coastal features that modern seismic surveys would later confirm exist beneath the ice. The map includes a remarkably accurate depiction of the Ross Sea, an enormous embayment in Antarctica's coastline that wouldn't be officially discovered for another 3 centuries. It shows the continent's central mountain range, which runs like a spine through the landmass beneath miles of ice. Here's what makes this impossible. These features have been buried under ice for at least 6,000 years, possibly much longer. The weight of scientific evidence suggests that Antarctica's ice sheet has been stable for approximately 6 million years. So how does a 16th century French mathematician produce a map of a continent that wouldn't be discovered for 300 years, showing features that have been invisible for millennia? The conventional explanation is that Finaeus copied an earlier source map. But which source? From when? And created by whom? 3. The Fra Mauro Map. The Fra Mauro Map, named for the Venetian monk who created it, is often described as the greatest medieval map of the world. It's enormous. 2.5 meters across, painted on parchment, set in an ornate wooden frame. It was commissioned by the King of Portugal, who paid the equivalent of a small fortune for its creation. What makes the Fra Mauro map significant isn't its size or its beauty. It's the fact that Fra Mauro drew the southern tip of Africa as a navigable sea route, decades before Vasco da Gama made the first recorded European voyage around the Cape of Good Hope in 1497. Fra Mauro's map correctly shows that the Indian Ocean connects to the Atlantic Ocean, directly contradicting the established geographical doctrine of his time. The ancient Greek geographer Ptolemy had stated definitively that the Indian Ocean was a closed sea, entirely surrounded by land. This was church-sanctioned geographical fact in medieval Europe. Questioning Ptolemy was bordering on heresy, and yet Fra Mauro not only questioned it, he mapped the alternative with startling accuracy. He drew Madagascar in roughly its correct position. He noted that ships from India and China had sailed around Africa's southern coast. He wrote on the map that an Indian junk had reached the Atlantic Ocean by rounding Africa's southern tip, an event that, if true, would have occurred at least half a century before European explorers discovered the route. Fra Mauro's sources remain a subject of intense academic debate. He had access to the libraries of Venice, then Europe's greatest trading hub, where sailors from across the known world shared their knowledge. He also had access to Portuguese charts, since the map was commissioned by the Portuguese crown. But who told the Portuguese that Africa could be rounded? And who told Fra Mauro that the Indian Ocean was open to the Atlantic? Someone knew. Decades before any European ship made the voyage, someone mapped it first. 4. The Zheng He Maps. In 2005, a Chinese lawyer named Liu Gang published a map that he claimed was a 1763 copy of a 1418 original drawn by the legendary Chinese admiral Zheng He. If authentic, this map is perhaps the most significant cartographic discovery in history. It shows the entire world, all 6 inhabited continents, including both North and South America, rendered in recognizable detail. It shows Australia's northern coastline. It depicts Antarctica's southern edge. It even shows the Arctic regions of Canada and Russia. The map is dated 1418. That's 74 years before Columbus set sail. 90 years before European maps showed the Americas in any meaningful detail. 350 years before Captain Cook charted Australia. Zheng He commanded the Ming Dynasty's treasure fleet, a naval armada so vast it beggars belief. His flagship was more than 400 feet long. Columbus's Santa Maria, by comparison, was about 60 feet. Zheng He's fleet included hundreds of vessels, crewed by tens of thousands of sailors. He made 7 epic voyages across the Indian Ocean, reaching East Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and possibly further. The conventional historical narrative insists that Zheng He never reached the Americas. But the 1418 map, if it's what Liu Gang claims, suggests otherwise. Mainstream scholars remain deeply skeptical of the map's authenticity. The ink and paper haven't been conclusively dated to 1763, let alone 1418. The map includes geographical features that some argue are anachronistic. But whether or not the specific map in Liu Gang's possession is authentic, the broader question remains. Did Chinese explorers chart the world decades, perhaps centuries, before Europeans? The historical evidence is fragmentary but tantalizing. Chinese porcelain has been found in archaeological sites across East Africa. Chinese anchor stones have been discovered off the California coast. The Ming Dynasty's naval technology was unquestionably more advanced than anything Europe possessed at the time. The Zheng He maps may be the most controversial entry on this list. but they're also the most significant. Because if they're real, the entire history of global exploration needs to be rewritten. 5. The Cantino Planisphere. In 1502, an Italian spy named Alberto Cantino smuggled a Portuguese state secret out of Lisbon. It was a map, a planisphere, showing the known world as Portugal understood it at the dawn of the Age of Discovery. The Cantino Planisphere is the earliest surviving map to show Portuguese discoveries in the Americas. It depicts the coastline of Brazil with remarkable precision, just 2 years after the Portuguese first officially claimed the territory. It shows the Caribbean islands. It hints at the coastline of Florida. It depicts Africa's shape with accuracy that surpasses any previous European map. But here's what's strange. The Cantino Planisphere also shows the coastline of Newfoundland and parts of the Canadian Maritime region, at least 2 decades before any officially recorded European exploration of those areas. How did Portuguese cartographers know what Canada's coastline looked like in 1502? The official Portuguese expeditions to the region, the Corte Real brothers' voyages, ended in disaster. Miguel Corte Real vanished without a trace in 1502. His brother Gaspar had disappeared the previous year. No official records from their expeditions survived. And yet, someone drew the coastline. Someone mapped it accurately enough to include on Portugal's most important state map. Someone knew. The Cantino Planisphere raises the same uncomfortable question that threads through every entry on this list. When did humans really discover the world? And how much of that discovery has been lost or deliberately hidden? 6. The Waldseemüller Map. The Waldseemüller Map, named for the German cartographer Martin Waldseemüller, is often called America's birth certificate. It's the first known map to use the name America, a tribute to the Italian explorer Amerigo Vespucci. But the Waldseemüller Map is far more than a naming exercise. It's a cartographic miracle. The map shows the Pacific Ocean, decades before any European explorer is known to have seen it. Vasco Núñez de Balboa wouldn't cross the Isthmus of Panama and sight the Pacific until 1513, 6 years after Waldseemüller published his map. Ferdinand Magellan wouldn't make the first recorded European crossing of the Pacific until 1521, 14 years later. And yet, Waldseemüller drew it. He drew the west coast of South America accurately enough that it's recognizably the same continent we see on modern maps. He showed a narrow isthmus connecting North and South America, something no European explorer would confirm for decades. He even depicted the general shape of the Andes mountain range. How? Waldseemüller himself gives us the answer, and it only deepens the mystery. He wrote that he consulted the most recent and most complete charts available in Europe, including maps obtained from Spanish and Portuguese explorers. But he also referenced ancient authorities whose knowledge, he believed, exceeded anything known to the cartographers of his own era. Which ancient authorities? What maps did Waldseemüller see that showed him a continent's western edge before any European had laid eyes on it? The map is housed today at the Library of Congress. In 2003, the library paid $10 million to acquire it, the highest price ever paid for a single map. It's worth every cent. Because the Waldseemüller Map doesn't just name a continent, it preserves knowledge that shouldn't have existed. 7. The Buache Map. Philippe Buache was the premier geographer of 18th century France. In 1737, he published a map of Antarctica that, like the Finaeus Map 2 centuries earlier, showed the continent free of ice. Buache's depiction of Antarctica is astonishingly detailed. He shows a central sea passage dividing the continent into 2 major land masses, essentially the Transantarctic Mountains bisecting the continent. This geographical feature wouldn't be confirmed by modern survey until the International Geophysical Year of 1958, more than 200 years later. But Buache's map is strange for another reason. He didn't claim to draw Antarctica from contemporary exploration. He explicitly stated that his map was based on ancient source maps, supposedly drawn by the original inhabitants of the continent, thousands of years before the ice advanced. This claim has made Buache's map an object of ridicule in mainstream academic circles. The idea that humans inhabited an ice-free Antarctica, much less that they drew maps which somehow survived into 18th century France, seems preposterous. But Buache wasn't a crackpot. He was France's premier geographer, a man whose other maps were models of sober, scientific cartography. His depiction of North America's river systems was the most accurate of his era. His theories about global geography anticipated discoveries that wouldn't be confirmed for decades. So why did this brilliant, respected scientist stake his reputation on a map of an ice-free Antarctica based on ancient sources? What did Buache see that convinced him? We don't know. We may never know. But the Buache map sits in the archives of the French National Library, 1,000 miles and 2 centuries away from the mainstream historical narrative that says no human ever saw Antarctica without ice. 8. The Turin Papyrus, 1160 BC. The Turin Papyrus is the oldest surviving geological map in the world. It was drawn during the reign of Ramesses IV, approximately 1160 BC, more than 3,000 years ago. The papyrus maps a section of Egypt's eastern desert, specifically the Wadi Hammamat, a dry riverbed that contained valuable quarries for the ancient Egyptian state. It shows the location of gold mines, the type of stone available in each quarry, the roads connecting the sites, and even the distance between landmarks. But the Turin Papyrus doesn't just record information, it reveals a level of cartographic sophistication that challenges our assumptions about ancient Egyptian capabilities. The map uses color coding, different hues for different types of stone and terrain. It employs consistent scale across significant distances. It includes what modern geologists recognize as accurate depictions of the region's rock formations, including the distinctive Baconstone quarries whose precise locations Egyptologists only confirmed in the 20th century. Ancient Egyptian surveyors, working without compass, without theodolite, without any of the surveying instruments that modern cartography considers essential, produced a map so accurate that it remained useful for over 3,000 years. Geologists studying the Wadi Hammamat in the 20th century used the Turin Papyrus as a reference document, a 3,000-year-old map still functional. What else did the Egyptians map that hasn't survived? What cartographic knowledge existed in the ancient world that we dismiss because the papyrus and parchment have long since turned to dust? The Turin Papyrus is a fragment, a surviving sliver of a much larger cartographic tradition. And it's a warning against assuming that ancient peoples couldn't have produced the sophisticated maps that keep turning up in medieval and Renaissance archives. 9. The Hadji Ahmed Map, 1559. In the mid-16th century, a Turkish cartographer named Hadji Ahmed produced a world map unlike anything else in the Ottoman tradition. It showed the entire known world, from the Americas to China, in a single, beautifully engraved composition. What makes the Hadji Ahmed map remarkable is its depiction of North America's west coast. In 1559, no European explorer had seen the west coast of North America north of Mexico. The first recorded European exploration of the California coast wouldn't come for another generation. The Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, was completely unknown to European cartography. And yet Hadji Ahmed drew it. He drew Baja California as a long, narrow peninsula, a geographical feature that European maps of the era consistently misrepresented as an island. He drew the general outline of the continent's western edge, including features that correspond to the general shape of the Pacific Northwest's coastline. Hadji Ahmed claimed his map was compiled from ancient charts in the libraries of the Ottoman Empire. Given the Ottomans' position as the crossroads between Europe and Asia, it's possible that the Topkapi Palace archives contained cartographic materials that had never reached Western scholars. But which ancient charts? From which civilization? Drawn by whom? The Hadji Ahmed Map was largely forgotten for centuries, one obscure Ottoman cartographer among many. But its accurate depiction of Baja California alone should have ensured its place in cartographic history. He knew something that the best European mapmakers of his era got wrong, and he knew it from sources that have not survived. 10. The Virga World Map, 1414. The Virga World Map, drawn by a Venetian cartographer named Albertinus de Virga, is one of the most mysterious documents in cartographic history. It survived for 5 centuries in a private collection in the Balkans, was published in a scholarly journal in 1911, and then vanished during the chaos of the First World War. No one has seen the original since. All we have are the 1911 photographs and the scholarly article that documented its existence. And what the photographs show is remarkable. The Virga map depicts the known world with astonishing accuracy for 1414, decades before Portuguese exploration of Africa's coast, a full century before the European discovery of the Americas. But it shows something else too. In the far north, where a blank space or mythical islands would normally appear on a medieval map, de Virga drew a detailed coastline, a large landmass with recognizable geographical features. Scholars who studied the map in 1911 tentatively identified it as Greenland. The problem? Greenland's northern coastline was almost completely unknown to European cartography in 1414. The Norse settlements on Greenland's southern tip had been abandoned decades earlier. No European explorer would chart Greenland's northern reaches for another century at least. And yet, de Virga drew it. He drew it from sources that we can only guess at. And then his map itself disappeared, as if history couldn't bear the questions it raised. 11. The Zeno Map, 1558. In 1558, a Venetian nobleman named Niccolò Zeno published a map that he claimed was based on the voyages of his ancestors, Niccolò and Antonio Zeno, who had supposedly sailed to the North Atlantic in the late 14th century, 100 years before Columbus. The Zeno map shows several islands in the North Atlantic that don't exist. Fryland, Estotland, and Icaria appear as substantial landmasses between Scotland and Greenland. Unsurprisingly, the Zeno map was dismissed as a fabrication, a Venetian nobleman's attempt to claim ancestral glory before Columbus. But then something strange happened. Modern researchers comparing the Zeno map to actual North Atlantic geography discovered that, if you strip away the non-existent islands, the underlying map is remarkably accurate. Greenland's coastline is correctly rendered. The general shape of Scandinavia is recognizable. The Shetland and Faroe Islands appear in roughly their correct positions. The theory that has emerged is that Zeno compiled his map from genuinely old source material, perhaps authentic medieval charts of the North Atlantic, but filled in gaps with speculation and invention. The non-existent islands may represent places that medieval explorers genuinely thought they saw. Mirages, icebergs, or land masses that were later misidentified. If this theory is correct, the Zeno map preserves a tantalizing fragment of pre-Columbian geographical knowledge. Someone explored the North Atlantic in detail long before the official Age of Discovery. Someone mapped it, and that knowledge, distorted, fragmented, and mixed with fantasy, survived long enough for Niccolò Zeno to publish it, and for us to puzzle over it, 5 centuries later. What connects every map in this collection is the same fundamental question. How did they know? A Turkish admiral maps Antarctica without ice. A French mathematician draws mountain ranges buried under millennia of frozen snow. Chinese admirals may have charted the entire world before Europeans could reliably cross the Atlantic. Maps that show coastlines decades before their official discovery. Coastlines that shouldn't have been visible for thousands of years. The conventional explanation, that these are all coincidences, lucky guesses, or forgeries, strains credibility under the weight of accumulated evidence. Too many maps, too many independent cartographers, too much detail that couldn't have been fabricated and matches what modern survey confirmed centuries later. The alternative explanation, that ancient civilizations possessed sophisticated geographical knowledge, that they mapped the world in ways we've forgotten, and that fragments of that knowledge survived into the medieval and Renaissance eras, is more unsettling, but it's also more consistent with the evidence. Someone mapped Antarctica when it was free of ice. Someone charted the coast of the Americas before Columbus. Someone drew the world with precision that shouldn't have been possible. And their maps, fragmentary, damaged, and misunderstood, survived into our era, carrying knowledge across millennia that we're still struggling to decode. But the echoes don't stop here. More mysteries lie buried, more frequencies waiting to be heard. Subscribe and listen again next time. This is Fallen Frequencies.